Hello and welcome. Seeing as free plastic on a magazine is an instant buy from me, and as I don't have any Flames of War tanks, I thought jumping them to the front of my painting queue is a must. I was surprised that there's no actual flash or seam lines on the plastic, and that there's build options and optional spares. I actually like the fact that these models aren't push fit, but still have the extra plastic to help beginners not make any mistakes. I had 2 tanks, and apart from some minimal cleanup, they only took minutes to build and glue. As for build options, no one likes a small cannon, so the big long cannon is the favourite. Considering the extra additional parts can be considered, although they're not in the magazine How to Build guide. Although these tanks are very small, I was actually impressed with the amount of detail that were on them. I almost wanted to paint them my way, but I thought I'd try out the painting tutorial in the magazine. I actually have most of the paints in this tutorial, but I did have to substitute some of them. This may or may not have caused issues later. As these are small models, I gave 2 thin coats of the base colour to both of the tanks in their respective colours. As the camouflage on the French tank is actually going to be the hardest, sketching out a wavy line using your paintbrush at the bottom and top of the camouflage areas, followed by painting in between the lines, is the easiest approach. As far as I remember, the tutorial says paint camouflage. Maybe an extra page breaking down the step-by-step guide would have been helpful. But after the second coat, it's time for the mistake. There are many websites out there that will show you similar colours or brands for the colour you want. Turns out the only 2 colours I wanted for the British tank were almost similar on every single website, and happened to be the same colour pretty much as each other. I kept adding a lighter green to try and increase the contrast until I finally found out that the extra layers of paint have started adding extra surface texture. So now we have subtle camouflage versus French camouflage. All I can say is when painting this dark line is if you make a mistake, you can always paint over with the base colour. I would say that I didn't touch up that line, but I really did. After this, it was just a matter of painting all the extra parts in the colours that were required. Now, I believe the magazine actually wanted me to do a pin wash, but I followed the instructions exactly, and after applying the wash I got a little bit worried, so I grabbed some kitchen towel to roughly wipe off the excess wash. Now the base colour and the shadow tone is done, it's time for the dry brushing. As I didn't have the correct colour, a mixture of khaki and pale sand were made to highlight all the edges on both of the tanks. It may look like that I'm applying a lot of pressure with the brush, but if you do apply too much pressure, you will actually rub off the paint that's on the model. This is something that can't be taught, it's just muscle memory. The more you make mistakes, the more you'll learn. Whilst painting the tracks, it reminded me of a simple rule. Always have a clean brush ready to mop up any areas you mispainted. While acrylics are wet, a wet paintbrush will lift that paint up easily. After a heavy dry brush of the metallics is applied, it's time for the matte varnish. I've not actually tried brushing on this varnish, so I'm going to use a flat and a round brush to test out its self-leveling features. I used the round brush exclusively on the French tank and the flat brush on the British tank. For the flat brush, I only brushed in one direction to try to create streaks. I was surprised, however, even trying to create textures with the varnish resulted in perfectly flat and matte surfaces. So, with the magazine's finished photos of the painted tanks, how do you think that my first attempt compares? Thanks for watching and have fun!